So what is the answer to the first question? Gamma linolenic acid is not an essential amino acid. It is essential fatty acid. It is alpha linolenic acid, omega-3 alpha linolenic acid. So this is the, you can see this is the correct answer. This is omega-3 is alpha linolenic acid, omega-6 is linoleic acid. Okay, D is the correct answer. Okay, this difference between gamma.
Sir, I'm sorry, what is the correct answer?
D.
D, okay.
One is, you can see here, there are two types of linolenic acid. One is gamma linolenic acid, and other is alpha linolenic acid. Okay, this gamma linolenic acid is actually omega-6 fatty acid. It is synthesized from linoleic acid. It can be synthesized from one desaturation, one unsaturation will result this. Both are 18 carbon compound. Alpha linolenic acid is an omega-3 fatty acid. Did you understand now? So how do you remember? Alpha comes before gamma, so that is why alpha takes 3 number and gamma takes 6 number. So that way you can remember. Alpha omega-3 alpha linolenic essential fatty acid essential omega-3 fatty acid is alpha linolenic acid, and then omega-6 essential fatty acid is linoleic acid. So this is the answer. Now, phospholipid is composed of compound lipid. It reduces surface tension during deflation of respiratory system process. Which of the following is phospholipid present in lung surfactant? Tell me. Lung surfactant phospholipid.
B.
B.
B. This phosphatidylcholine is present. So before this phosphatidylcholine, you can, if you write dipalmitol, okay, dipalmitol, 2-palmitic acid is present at the fatty acyl position. Dipalmitol, phosphatidylcholine. So this is the answer. B is the answer. Now, signal transduction. You know what is signal transduction? I have already explained. It is a cell communication. Okay. So lipid has very important role in signal transduction process. Which of the following lipid is involved in signal transduction?
D.
Phosphatidylserine.
Is it involved in signal transduction? What about, I have explained very much IP3 and DAG pathway. Which is IP3 related to?
D.
It is D. Phosphatidyl inositol. I for inositol. P3 for triphosphate. So this inositol triphosphate will give this, and this give both. So it will break, and this will result IP3, and a part of this diacyl glycerol will result DAG. This is DAG. So IP3 DAG result from phosphatidyl inositol. So this is part of second messenger. This phosphatidylserine is associated with apoptosis. Serine is associated with apoptosis. Remember this important. These are important function. Now, actually, this question, these are the few questions you will be able to answer. All lipid of body are sphingolipids. Okay, all glycolipid of the body are sphingolipid. Which of the following glycolipid is present predominantly in neuronal cell as myelin? Which of the following glycolipid?
Galactoceramide.
Yes, galactosylceramide and sulfogalactosylceramide. Did you get that? So 2 lipids. Now, which of the following is sphingolipidosis? So we will talk about sphingolipidosis in the next or after next class. After we finish this beta oxidation, then we will talk about all disorder together. We have 3 disorder because of beta oxidation. We will also talk about the sphingolipidosis. We will talk them together, all disorder together. So here, which of the following sphingolipidosis does not or rarely have splenomegaly, hepatomegaly? So answer here is Tay-Sachs disease. Tay-Sachs disease, okay? For the timing, just remember it is Tay-Sachs disease. So I have not taught this. So which is almost, myelin is almost absent in which sphingolipidosis? The answer is Krabbe disease. Okay, Krabbe disease. So we will talk about this in not this next class, after next and after next class. So which of the following is rate limiting step of fatty acid synthesis? You know this. Rate limiting step of fatty acid synthesis. A very important question.
Choline carboxylase.
What is the answer?
A.
Carboxylase.
Is this B?
A.
A.
A is the answer. Okay. So in short form, just remember ACC, acetyl coenzyme carboxylase. If you forget about this enzyme and regulation about this enzyme, you'll forget everything. Just don't forget this enzyme. The same reaction contributes 7 steps. 7 steps. So remember this is very important reaction, rate limiting step. Now, tell me, 62-year Caucasian male develops episodes of incoordination and slurred speech. His wife noted that seems depressed and argumentative. His physician diagnosed multiple sclerosis. Which of the following best described as which of the following? Which is best described as which of the following? So multiple sclerosis. What is multiple sclerosis? Is basically myelin loss of. Yes.
It's demyelinating.
It is not lipid storage. It is not. So these both are gone. Demyelinating. Yes, this is demyelinating. It is not a lipid storage. Only 2 are correct. So you can see demyelinating disease with loss of phospholipid and ceramide from brain and spinal cord. Loss of phospholipid from demyelinating disease with loss of phospholipid and sphingolipid from the brain. So this is the correct answer. Okay. Ceramide is not a mature sphingolipid. Okay. Ceramide means immature sphingolipid. So this should be the answer. D is the answer. This multiple sclerosis is demyelination because of demyelination. Which of the following is not required for fatty acid synthesis? Tell me.
Carbon dioxide.
Yes.
E.
E.
Rather than NADH, what is required? NADPH. Okay, DPH is required. So elongation of fatty acid occurs in which of the following organelles?
C.
Oh, yes. And this elongation happens through the same process, but the enzymes are different. Okay, proteins are different, but the function of enzyme will be same. So elongation happens at head or tail position. If I'll write this, so I'll write first this. So this is acetyl coenzyme A. I'm writing acetyl coenzyme like this. Okay. Now, so this is COOH. This is AC. Now you can see the formation of bond is like this. So here bond formation. Each bond formation require 2 NADH bond formation, and each bond formation require the steps CR, DR. Condensation, reduction, dehydration, and reduction. CRDR. Here also CRDR. This is also CRDR. So where will be the addition of next acetyl coenzyme A? Here or here? At head or at tail? Where will be the addition of next acetyl coenzyme A? At head or at tail? Anyone?
Head.
Yes. always at head. Okay, so next acetyl coenzyme A will be added here. So CO group, at CO group, next acetyl coenzyme A will be added here. Here there will be formation of bond here between these two, and what will happen is this will undergo reduction and dehydration, and that is how it will be eliminated. So always elongation will happen at the head position, and the same step CRDR, there will also be CRDR, condensation, reduction, dehydration and reduction, but the different enzyme will catalyze the reaction. Enzyme will catalyze this similar reaction. Okay, so this is actually, if you understand what happens during elongation, that is enough for you. So did you understand what happens during elongation and where does it happen? Elongation happens in smooth endoplasmic reticulum, and the same process, but the enzymes are different. Did you get that?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
if you understand about elongation, that's enough for synthesis, and you have already understood synthesis, regulation and elongation. So this is the answer, D is the answer, here E is the answer, here C is the answer. Now let's today talk about the fatty acid oxidation. So fatty acid oxidation is, so fatty acid synthesis occurs during which condition?
Fed condition.
During fed condition. Yes, fatty acid synthesis
Yes, sir.
when you are well fed. When you are well fed. Right now, if you are well fed, then there will be fatty acid synthesis. But fatty acid oxidation happens when?
Starvation.
Fasting and starvation condition. Fasting condition. Fasting and starvation condition. So that is why, see, if fatty acid oxidation does not happen, you will get obese. That is why you have to stay in fasting condition. So you should not eat always. So you have to keep yourself healthy. There has to be like intermittent. You have to eat in a episode, not always. And you have to create a condition of fasting during sleep at night. So eat in the night, eat as early as possible, then in the morning have a breakfast. So that way you can actually create a gap of 10 to 12 hours, not eat late night. So this is the health tips based on metabolism. Now fasting will happen during this, fatty acid oxidation will happen during fasting condition, and it happens under influence of glucagon. And glucagon, see, insulin has no friend hormone. Insulin will stand alone, but with glucagon other hormone also is there. With glucagon you will see epinephrine will help glucagon, but no hormone helps this insulin. Epinephrine will help glucagon. Glucocorticoid, even glucocorticoid, cortisol will help glucagon. Even growth hormone will help glucagon partly. Growth hormone help glucagon. Growth hormone, let me tell a little bit about growth hormone. Growth hormone is very rejuvenating hormone. It keeps you young. So what is the function of this growth hormone? Is sometimes called leaning hormone. Leaning hormone. Why? Because growth hormone is anabolic for protein. It will increases the protein in your body, and it is catabolic for fat. That means what will happen? It increases your lean weight. It try to decrease fat. It try to increase protein in your body. So growth hormone is very desirable hormone for health. That is why. So it decreases fat and increases protein. So this is a peculiar type of behavior of growth hormone. Just remember this sometimes it is asked as MCQ. Which of the following hormone is catabolic for fat and anabolic for protein, growth hormone? Or indirectly they can ask which of the following hormone keeps you lean. So this growth hormone keeps you lean. Now, did you understand? So context, during fasting condition, glucagon is high, cortisol and growth hormone. These are the hormones that will cause fatty acid oxidation. So let me again, so this we have seen the fatty acid synthesis will become like this. Fatty acid, this is fatty acid synthesis. So there is formation of bond here. There is formation of bond here. There is formation of bond here. So what will be in fatty acid oxidation? Opposite, the destruction of bond, breaking of bond. Did you agree with me?
Yes.
Yes,
So
sir.
here, in oxidation, in synthesis, fatty acid synthesis, there is utilization of 2 NADPH, NADPH, 2 NADPH, each bond. Here also 2 NADPH, 2 NADPH. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 5 means 10 NADPH will be utilized. So fatty acid oxidation has to release 2 NADPH molecule similar to NADPH. It has to release 2 high energy molecule. It should release this NADH type of molecule, but you can see this will release 1 NADH, 1 FADH2, 1 NADH, 1 FADH2, 1 and the same way each bond will release 1 NADH, 1 FADH2. And see this bond, if you can see, this bond is present at which position? This is this carbon is called functional group carbon, and the carbon here, this carbon is called which carbon? Alpha carbon. The carbon attached to functional group. Now the carbon that is present here is called beta carbon, and this bond breaks because of oxidation of this carbon. So that is why this process of oxidation of fatty acid is called beta oxidation. It is essentially opposite process of fatty acid oxidation. If you know fatty acid oxidation, how many NADH is required in fatty acid oxidation? 2 NADPH. So how many NADPH like molecule will be produced from beta oxidation? 2. One is NADH, other is FADH2. Did you get that?
Yes.
Can you correlate with the fatty acid oxidation? Can you correlate fatty acid oxidation with fatty acid synthesis? Can you reverse that process and understand?
Yes, sir.
So now here the process is CRDR in fatty acid, CRDR in fatty acid synthesis. Now for oxidation, what will the process? There will be oxidation, hydration, oxidation, and thiolysis. So you can see this process: reduction here, 2 reduction process in synthesis, 2 oxidation in fatty acid oxidation. So you can easily remember here CRDR, here O hot. Here dehydration, you can see here dehydration is there, and here you will see hydration, dehydration and hydration. So opposite process, reduction, here oxidation. So this is the process. In place of condensation also you will see oxidation and and then thiolysis. So O hot process, 2 reduction, 2 oxidation is there, dehydration and hydration is there. So reverse process. Now you can see when does it happen? You already know, during fasting or starvation condition. Why does it happen? You already know, to provide fuel. It is a fuel during, fatty acid is fuel during this prolonged and fasting condition. for majority of tissue, peripheral tissue, pure for peripheral tissue, not for brain. During fasting condition, during fasting condition also brain utilize glucose. RBC also utilize glucose. So not for them, but for muscle. For resting muscle, the fuel during fasting and prolonged fasting is fatty acid. Now where does it happen? Peripheral tissues during fasting condition, all peripheral tissues. Now what are the enzymes? We will talk about what are the rate limiting enzymes, what are the vitamins and minerals. We will talk about that. How does it happen? We will also talk about this process. So let's see this. So source of energy, you already know, during fasting and starvation condition, we have already done this. So which enzyme activate this fatty acid oxidation? Glucagon and friends of glucagon, for example, epinephrine and cortisol. So these are the hormone, even thyroid hormone, thyroxine, all hormone except insulin will help glucagon, not insulin. Now main substrate, you will see main substrate for energy production for liver and this muscle, cardiac muscle, skeletal muscle and renal cortex, not medulla, because renal medulla is deficient in oxygen, and that is why renal medulla cannot do beta oxidation, because beta oxidation require oxygen, beta oxidation. So the renal cortex, the cortex of the kidney. So these are the tissue where fatty acid oxidation release energy during fasting conditions. So these are the vitamins. If you see, this NAD is produced. I told you one NAD is produced. That NAD is nothing but vitamin B3. FAD is produced. FAD is nothing but vitamin B2. And coenzyme, always coenzyme is released. Acetyl coenzyme is released. So coenzyme is nothing but pantothenic acid. And these are the what question, answer to what question. What is required? ATP is required. Carnitine is also required. We will talk about carnitine. Fatty acid is required because it is the substrate. So beta oxidation happens where? Mitochondria. It happens in mitochondria of almost all nucleated cells, except brain. Brain does never have beta oxidation. Brain will actually utilize ketone body. Okay, it will utilize ketone body. So ketone body will directly release acetyl coenzyme. From acetyl coenzyme, brain will utilize, and that too during starvation condition, not normal fasting and prolonged fasting. During starvation condition, after 3 days, brain start utilizing ketone body, and ketone body itself is derived from fat. So you can call brain start utilizing fat after 3 days, not before 3 days. 72 hours, not before 72 hours. So it takes about 3 days to adjust on ketone body, start adjusting on ketone body. So however, it is capable of oxidizing ketone body. I have already explained through this from beta oxidation in liver. So beta oxidation liver will produce ketone body, and ketone body will be utilized by brain. You will see ketone body synthesis and utilization in the upcoming classes. So these are the things you can see what are the required for fatty acid oxidation and where fatty acid oxidation happens. Now these are three minor. One major fatty acid, we will talk about major fatty acid oxidation. Let me first talk about this minor fatty acid oxidation first. So there are three minor fatty acid oxidation. So one is called beta oxidation. Which beta oxidation? Peroxisomal beta oxidation. So I will share you some of my video. I've recorded that video that will describe this both alpha oxidation and omega oxidation. If you go through those videos, just 1 hour videos, small videos are there. I'll share with you. You will understand what is beta oxidation, difference between beta oxidation and alpha oxidation. You will understand the difference between peroxisomal beta oxidation and mitochondrial beta oxidation. So both beta oxidation will look similarly superficially. Both will have this bond breaking, and it will go through OHOT process, but there is few differences. Okay, and this oxidation happens, peroxisomal beta oxidation happens for long chain fatty acid and very long chain fatty acid. So peroxisomal beta oxidation happens for very long chain fatty acid. We will talk about what is very long chain fatty acid. So it happens for very long chain fatty acid and long chain fatty acids. And alpha oxidation is reserved to one type of fatty acid. This is called phytanic acid. I will talk about this alpha oxidation also during discussion of a disease called Repsum disease. Only one enzyme, you will see Repsum disease. Repsum disease. And omega oxidation will happen in endoplasmic reticulum. It will produce dicarboxylic acid. So alpha these are the fatty acid oxidation that does not happen in mitochondria. Alpha oxidation, peroxisome, and beta oxidation also in peroxisome. Alpha, beta, both oxidation in peroxisome, and then omega in endoplasmic reticulum. And in peroxisome beta, this beta oxidation occurs for very long chain fatty acid. So this alpha oxidation is reserved to phytanic acid. It is a branch chain fatty acid. So we will talk about. So did you understand where this all fatty acid, minor fatty acid oxidation happens? Peroxisomal beta oxidation, obviously it happens in peroxisome. Alpha oxidation also happens in peroxisome. For a particular fatty acid, omega oxidation happens in endoplasmic reticulum. So these are very important part of this minor location is very important for minor pathways. So did you understand up to this?
Yes, sir.
But 95% of fatty acid oxidation happens in mitochondria. That is through beta oxidation. So we will talk in detail about beta oxidation. So let's start this beta oxidation. What are the process, the complete process? Let's start talk about the complete process right from lipolysis to beta oxidation. So you will have a complete context of the process. So let's begin from the adipose tissue. So from adipose tissue, what happens? The fat is stored in the adipose tissue. But adipose tissue, the utilization of this fat is done by other tissue around our body. Muscle, liver, cardiac muscle will utilize. So what will happen? There is a process, and that is actually stimulated by glucagon. And this process is called lipolysis. What is lipolysis? I have already told you lipogenesis is opposite process is lipogenesis. Lipogenesis is fatty acid plus glycerol. When glycerol 3-phosphate, when they combine, it will, sorry, glycerol, just glycerol. When fatty acid and glycerol, they combine, they will form triglyceride. This is fatty acid. This is glycerol. This is triglyceride. Now this triglyceride formed during fed condition in adipose tissue. This triglyceride during fasting condition has to be broken down. So what will happen? So this is reverse process will happen. Triglyceride will convert into fatty acid and then glycerol. And this is done by, this is stimulated by glucagon, as I have told you. And glucagon is secreted during fasting and starvation. And glucagon is also high during diabetes. So diabetes is a context disease that actually metabolism simulates similar to fasting condition, starvation. Many of the metabolism will be similar to fasting and starvation condition. You can see this enzyme, this actually hormone will activate an enzyme that is present inside the adipocytes. It is present in the adipocyte. This is called hormone sensitive lipase. This is a type of lipase, different from the lipase that you studied in digestion of fat in intestine. So this is a hormone sensitive lipase. So this glucagon will phosphorylate this lipase, because glucagon always do phosphorylation, and then it will activate this lipase enzyme, HS lipase, HSL, hormone sensitive lipase. Now this hormone sensitive lipase present inside adipocyte will break the triglyceride present in the adipocyte into glycerol and fatty acid. So this glycerol and fatty acid will come out of the adipocyte into the blood, and to the blood, from the blood it will reach an organ, liver or muscle. It will reach liver or muscle. In liver or muscle, this fatty acid will be converted into fatty acyl coenzyme. This is converted into fatty acyl coenzyme. Let's see. Take the long chain fatty acid only. So I will tell you why I am taking long chain fatty acid only. So I will also describe what is long chain fatty acid. But just wait for some time. This long chain fatty acid. The long chain fatty acid will convert into long chain fatty acyl coenzyme A in this organ. After this fatty acid reach here, this fatty acid converts into this fatty acyl coenzyme A here. This reaction happens here. And this step is called activation of fatty acid. Why? Because you see this addition of this coenzyme A to this fatty acid require 2 high energy phosphate here. Okay, this is called activation of fatty acid. And after activation of fatty acid only there will be beta oxidation. So did you get up to this point, up to activation of fatty acid? Up to after lipolysis there will be activation of fatty acid. Did you get this point? Tell me
Yes, sir.
anyone. Okay. Now,
Can you come again, please, sir? Please can
Yes.
you come again?
just tell me.
Please, can you come again? I didn't really get that.
So what did you did not understand? Can you tell me where you did not understand?
From after lipolysis.
From lipolysis? So it will take too much time. Did you understand this adipose tissue?
Yes.
So did you understand this lipolysis occurs and lipolysis will result fatty acid and glycerol inside adipose tissue, adipocyte. This happens inside adipocyte. Did you understand? Under influence of glucagon. And this enzyme will catalyze this. This is hormone because it is sensitive to glucagon. That is why hormone. It will break this in adipose tissue triglyceride and triglyceride to fatty acid and glycerol. And this fatty acid will through blood it will reach peripheral tissue. In peripheral tissue, this fatty acid will be converted into acetyl coenzyme A. Did you understand?
Yes, sir.
And this requires ATP. 2 high energy phosphate from ATP. This is equivalent to 2 ATP. Addition of coenzyme A to fatty acid required 2 high energy phosphate, that is equivalent to 2 ATP. That is why this step is called activation step. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, no problem. So now this acetyl coenzyme A is ready for, it is inside cell. So this whole process is happening inside peripheral cell now. So now this acetyl coenzyme is ready for oxidation. And this conversion of this fatty acid to acyl coenzyme occurs in cytosol of this peripheral tissue. This is ready for oxidation. But the oxidation happens in mitochondria. So this acetyl coenzyme A has to be transported to mitochondria. The problem is that acetyl coenzyme A cannot be transported to mitochondria, So acetyl coenzyme A will convert into a different type of molecule. This in place of coenzyme A, there different soluble molecule will attach. This is called acyl carnitine. So let's see this process. So this acetyl coenzyme A cannot directly go into the mitochondria, but rather this acetyl coenzyme A. So acetyl coenzyme A will go into mitochondria and there will be oxidation, beta oxidation will happen. So how does this acetyl coenzyme A enter mitochondria? That is the very important question. How does this acetyl coenzyme A enter mitochondria? This acetyl coenzyme A enter mitochondria through transporters, and that through that transporter also not in the form of acyl coenzyme. This is very important. This acyl coenzyme, long chain, remember long chain fatty acyl coenzyme will first convert into long chain fatty acyl carnitine, and this fatty acyl carnitine will enter this transporter, and this after entering this transporter, this acyl carnitine, this acyl carnitine will convert into acyl coenzyme A, and now acyl coenzyme A will undergo beta oxidation, and this beta oxidation will result these molecules ultimately. You know, each bond breakdown, each bond oxidation will reach one FADH2, one NADH, and acetyl coenzyme. So did you understand this process?
Yes, sir.
Did
Yes,
you
sir.
understand? 4 steps are there. First is lipolysis, and then after lipolysis, fatty acid go into the peripheral tissue. There will be activation of fatty acid inside cytosol, and after activation, there will be transport. Third process, mitochondrial transport, and then after transport, this acyl carnitine again will convert into acyl coenzyme A, and then this is the process of beta. The last process, fourth step, is beta oxidation. So before this beta oxidation, there is 3 processes, and this is the very important process. This is rate limiting step. Is transport is the rate limiting step. This and this are the rate limiting step. Here also the regulation will happen, but through feedback regulation. Okay, this is here also regulation will happen at lipolysis, because glucagon is there. If glucagon is not there, this enzyme will not be activated. So there regulation. Here also regulation for transport. If there is very high amount of, if there is synthesis of fatty acid, so synthesis of fatty acid will, acetyl coenzyme A will be there. Acetyl coenzyme A will convert into malonyl coenzyme A. This step, this is rate limiting step. That will have SEC. And during this fed condition, there will be very high amount of malonyl coenzyme A. This malonyl coenzyme A actually inhibit this transporter, specifically this protein, CPT1. Okay, so this 3 protein is present in mitochondria. This 3 protein will convert this CPT1. What is the CPT1? CPT1 is transferase enzyme. It will actually convert this acyl coenzyme into acyl carnitine. That happens in outer membrane of mitochondria. So I have shown here, it will happen. Now CPT1 convert acyl coenzyme into acyl carnitine, and CPT2 converts this acyl carnitine back to acyl. What is the full form of CPT? T for transferase and P for carnityl palmitoyl. This is carnityl palmitoyl. Because the palmitoyl is the predominant fatty acid in our body, that is why you use palmitoyl. Palmitoyl is a long chain fatty acid. Palmitoyl acid, palmitic acid. So CPT means carnitine palmitoyl transferase. To the this palmitic is transferred to carnitine, that is CPT1 and CPT2. And this cat is, through this cat only this acyl carnitine will go into the mitochondria. So this coordination of these 3 protein, CPT1, CPT2 and cat, is required to transport this acyl coenzyme into this mitochondria. Did you understand right now what are the role of this transporter enzymes? All 3 are basically enzymes. This cat for translocase. Here these are transferase. Now, did you understand this whole process? If you understand this whole process, now you understood whole thing about beta oxidation. This is what beta oxidation is. Beta oxidation does not have a big thing. Did you understand the whole process?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we will explain this slide only. If you have understood this slide, so you will not have, if you just memorize this slide also. 4 steps: lipolysis, hormone sensitive lipase. Lipolysis, hormone sensitive lipase under influence of glucagon. That is why if hormone is regulating something, it is rate limiting. It is also regulating this. And this second is activation. You can see activation is the only process where utilization of ATP. Other process there will be production of ATP. That is why this step becomes important. The question comes from this step is, which of the following is the only step of beta oxidation which utilize energy? So activation. This is second step. Conversion of fatty acid to palmitic acid to palmitoyl coenzyme. Fatty acid to fatty acyl coenzyme. So this second question comes from. Now rate limiting step again. So transport is also rate limiting, which this malonyl will inhibit during fed condition. Malonyl coenzyme will inhibit this. That is why beta oxidation cannot happen during fed condition, because there will not be this acyl coenzyme will not be transported to the mitochondria. Now, and lipolysis will also not happen during fed condition because insulin is there in place of glucagon. So this both process will not happen during fed condition. Now, what will happen if this fatty acid will not go into mitochondria? So there is no chance of this beta oxidation, because beta oxidation is activated through feed-forward reaction by feed-forward stimulation by this SL coenzyme, and it will be inhibited by feedback inhibition by this. So through one slide, if you understand this slide, you will understand the this beta oxidation also, concept of beta oxidation. You have understood actually the high yield of beta oxidation. You have understood high yield of regulation also. So did you all understand this very slide? Now,
Yes.
I will move to so this 4-step, memorize this 4-step. So I want you to memorize this slide. Now, if you memorize this slide, let's go to the slide. Each and everything about this slide is very important. Only one slide if you memorize, so you will answer many of my questions also. Now let's see this. So these are the classification, you can go through this. So this is long chain fatty acid, I told you 13 to 16. So palmitic acid come in under long chain fatty acid. That is why I am repeating. Only long chain fatty acid requires carnitine addition for transport. This short chain and medium chain fatty acid can be transported easily into the mitochondria. It does not require, these two do not require carnitine. Do not require carnitine. Only this require carnitine. And very long chain fatty acid, it also does not require carnitine, because this long chain fatty acid will be metabolized in peroxisome. First, in peroxisome. After it becomes 8 chain carbon, then only it will be metabolized into mitochondria. 8 chain. So 8 chain can easily go into the mitochondria. It does not actually necessary, it does not require carnitine. So this is the long chain fatty acid. So long chain fatty acid also does not require carnitine, because it is metabolized in peroxisome. Did you understand this? Only long chain fatty acid require carnitine. Okay? Now. So activation, I am explaining this. So lipolysis, you already know activation. So you can see activation is happening. So fatty acid will get ATP and then 2 high energy phosphates. So this is the only step which require ATP. So activation is catalyzed by this enzyme, acyl coenzyme A synthase or thiokinase, because ATP is utilized. Thiokinase addition of this acyl. So acyl coenzyme A synthase. It is present in endoplasmic reticulum. This enzyme is present in endoplasmic reticulum or outer mitochondrial membrane. Both places this enzyme is present. So activates long chain fatty acid into long chain fatty acids into acyl coenzyme A. No activity after 22 or longer carbon. Very long chain fatty acid has no activity. No activity for the carbon below 12 carbon. Okay. So remember 22 and 12. It is easy. So only activity between 12 to 20 carbon. Long chain, especially activity for long chain fatty acid only for this. Now, know about the metabolism. All molecule containing coenzyme A, you know, I have already explained this. These are called high energy compound, HEC. Now, all metabolic pathway, if you can see, it will start with addition of phosphate, utilization of phosphate. Also in glycolysis, we have seen first phosphate and investment is done. Glucose will be converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Then it will be catabolized. Even catabolic process starts with addition of high energy phosphate, high energy compound. Now this is carnitine. Carnitine is nothing but, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Butyric acid. So remember butyric acid. Forget about anything. So it is a butyric acid. Butyric acid containing quaternary amine, primary, secondary, tertiary, quaternary. So 3, 4 carbon are attached. It's called quaternary amine. So containing quaternary amine, 4 carbon is attached. Butyric acid containing quaternary amine and OH group. So that is why it is very soluble. So did you understand what is this carnitine? Will you remember in a simple way? It is a butyric acid containing quaternary amine. Okay. So
Sorry,
this
you
is
said,
the name you. Yes.
I'm sorry, I didn't get what you said. Well, concerning what it contains.
So I just told you that carnitic acid is butyric acid containing this quaternary amine. Amine, this is nitrogen, and this methyl group. And if nitrogen is attached to one methyl, it is called primary amine. If it is attached to two carbon, it is called secondary amine. If it is attached to 3 carbon, it is called tertiary. If it is attached to 4 carbon, it is called quaternary. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4 quaternary amine. And this you can see COOH group. This is soluble, and OH group. This is very soluble. That is why this fatty acid, when bind to carnitine, it becomes more soluble for transportation. Did you get that?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No. Okay, no problem. So carnitine, our body can synthesize from lysine, the amino acid lysine and methionine, no problem. And it is also present in meat. So you can see the same thing I told you to explain. You can see transport here. So first step, and the enzyme, the first is activation step. The enzyme present in outer mitochondrial membrane of this outer mitochondrial membrane or endoplasmic reticulum. It activates fatty acid into fatty acid coenzyme by utilizing 2 ATP. Now this 3 protein that I mentioned in this slide, if you can see here, 3 proteins, CPT1, CPT2, and CPT2. How does the 3 protein coordinates? Let's see this. So I told you CPT1 converts acyl coenzyme into acyl carnitine. Then what does this do? This acyl carnitine will be transported by this protein, and then after it comes into mitochondria, this CPT will again convert this acyl carnitine back to acyl coenzyme. You can see the same thing here through this one. So acyl CPT, when one is present in outer mitochondrial membrane, so this will convert this acyl coenzyme A. Acyl coenzyme A can transport it through outer mitochondrial membrane. It will convert into this acyl carnitine. You can see this carnitine. This carnitine can be transported by this CAT enzyme. This is translocase. Carnitine acyl carnitine translocase. So this will translocate. This will transport this to into the matrix of mitochondria, inside the mitochondria. Now this carnitine will again convert it back to acyl coenzyme A by this second enzyme, CPT1. So that is what I told you there. So it is very elaborative. You may not understand from this, but if you understand that, you can understand this easily. So you can understand this picture easily. There is no big deal about this. So I told you I will keep on elaborating the same picture. You can see here. So first acetyl coenzyme will convert into this, and the CPT1 convert acetyl coenzyme into this, and then this CAT will translocate acyl carnitine, and then acyl carnitine will again convert into acetyl coenzyme by this CPT2. So did you understand easily? This translocation, this is also important step. Now did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So if you understand, now it's very easy now. You already know, I have already told you this is alpha carbon attached to functional group, this is beta carbon. So breaking of this bond occur because of oxidation of this carbon. That is why this is called beta oxidation. So you can see, so oxidation of this will cause breakage of bond between alpha and beta carbon, and there will be release of this acetyl coenzyme, 2 carbon compound, and that is why this is called beta oxidation. You can see beta oxidation as I've told you. So there will be, so first it will happen from head to tail, not tail to head. So beta oxidation, because this is alpha, this is beta. So beta oxidation will cause breakage of this bond. Okay. So breakage of bond and will result in this acetyl coenzyme A and then 14 carbon compound. Okay. 14 carbon fatty acyl coenzyme. Again, breaking of this bond will form 12 carbon compound. So now this up to 12 carbon, it is a long chain. Now this become a medium chain fatty acid. So again, breaking of this bond, this medium chain will release this 10 carbon. Breaking of this bond will release 8 carbon fatty acyl coenzyme. Now breaking of this bond again release this. Now this becomes short chain. So that is why our mitochondria has 3 type of enzyme. One is long chain fatty acyl coenzyme, fatty acyl dehydrogenase. One is medium chain fatty acid ALCAD. In short, we call it ALCAD. This ALCAD. Long chain acyl coenzyme A dehydrogenase, medium chain acyl coenzyme A dehydrogenase, and then ALCAD, AMCAD, and SCAD. short chain acyl. So 3 types of enzyme are present in our mitochondria. And this particular enzyme, I'll write it. So this particular enzyme, long chain, will act on this palmitic acid and break this bond. And this enzyme will act long chain on this also, 14. It will break this bond. After 12, you'll see medium chain will act on this compound. It will break this bond, and this bond. This is the first enzyme. By the way, this is first enzyme. So significance of this enzyme I will illustrate. So did you understand? Because bond breaking, and because of bond breaking, this is bond is broken down by this process, OHOT process, oxidation, hydration, oxidation, thiolysis. So this will generate NADH, one NADH and one FADH2. So how much ATP is equivalent to this one NADH? There is 4 ATP. This is equal to 1.5 ATP, and this is equal to 2.5 ATP. Total is 4 ATP. So did you understand this process now?
Yes, sir.
So this is beta oxidation, very simple way, in a very simple way. As beta oxidation progress, 3 types of enzyme will come. For first ALCAD up to 14, then MCAD, then SCAD. So we will require this because NCAD deficiency will inhibit the beta oxidation. So NCAD deficiency is very important disorder we will talk about. That is why I'm telling you this MCAD. So now we have already known this. So let's see how beta oxidation happens. So 7-step process. There we have seen for palmitic acid, 7-step process was there for synthesis, formation of bond. Here 7-step process for oxidation. So you can correlate both beta oxidation as well as fatty acid synthesis that way. So you can see these are the enzymes. The first enzyme is dehydrogenase. There are 3 dehydrogenases. I told you ALCAD, MCAD, and SCAD. And these 3 enzymes are HOT enzyme are present in single protein. This is called triple enzyme. Triple enzyme complex. So this will cause you, even if you don't remember enzyme, no problem. Just remember the step. Hydration, one enzyme will cause hydration, called hydrolase. Other enzyme called oxidation, it's called dehydrogenase. And third enzyme will remove that acetyl coenzyme. This is called thiolysis. So OHOT is the process. So this is triple enzyme. Now you can see oxidation. So first oxidation will release FAD. Second oxidation will release NADH, and then there will be thiolysis. So this is the process. First is carried out by fatty acid dehydrogenase. 3 types of fatty acid dehydrogenase are there, and second, third, fourth are catalyzed by triple trifunctional protein. Which has got HOT. So remember this process. So you can easily understand now. The first step you can see here. The first step is oxidation. So their first step will be double bond insertion at this position, at alpha carbon between alpha and beta here. By dehydrogen, acyl coenzyme A dehydrogenase. 3 types of ALCAD, MCAD, based on the chain ALCAD, MCAD, and SCAD. Now after that, what will happen? There will be hydrolase, because in means double bond is referred to in, and this oil. In oil coenzyme A hydratase. So OS will be added. Now third enzyme you can see dehydrogenase. Again, this OH alcohol will be converted into oxo group. So you can dehydrogenase. This will release NADH. Which dehydrogenase? Hydroxy, this beta hydroxy, and then this is acyl. Beta hydroxy acyl dehydrogenase will really result this keto-acyl coenzyme. From this thiolysis, there will be now breaking of this bond. Here will be the breaking of this bond here between alpha and beta. So this will result one acetyl coenzyme A and this fatty. So this is how these 3 are triple enzyme. These 3 are triple. Part of trifunctional, part of one protein. 3 enzymes are part of one protein. This is separate enzyme. So this is how through this 4th process, OHOT process, beta oxidation happens. So through this oxidation, hydration, oxidation by thiolase. So through this process, so remember this differences between these three enzymes. Thiolase is related to ketone body synthesis. Thiophorase, beta oxidation ketone that we have described. This thiolase. Thiolase is, what is the function? Differentiate this thiolase from this thiophorase and thioesterase. Thioesterase break the, this is fatty acid. It is required in fatty acid synthesis. Last enzyme, last coenzyme A, it will release that coenzyme A from palmitoyl coenzyme A to palmitic acid. So this is thioesterase, the last enzyme in fatty acid synthesis. This we have talked, and this we will talk. Now see this. So the result is this. The result is this: 7 NADH, 7 FADH2. Did you understand? An 8 acetyl coenzyme. So how many ATP will be produced from this? 7 plus 4 ATP. How many ATP is this? 28 ATP. Isn't it 28 ATP? Now, how many ATP from one acetyl coenzyme A? Tell me. 10 ATP. So it will be 10 into 8. How many? 80 ATP. So total how many ATP? So 108 ATP is there. So 2 ATP, you know, the 2 ATP were required in the initial step. So 108 minus 2 ATP will be is equal to 106 ATPs. So total, if this fatty acid has to catabolize completely, then there will be production of 100. If palmitic acid is catabolized completely, then there will be production of 106 ATPs. So 106 ATPs. So you can see 106 ATPs you can get. If beta oxidation is only happens, it will produce 28. And in liver, I'll tell you, in liver beta oxidation will only happen. Not this acetyl coenzyme A will convert into ketone body. Ketone body. It will not be metabolized. This will be this is sufficient for energy of liver. So in liver, beta oxidation only happens, not oxidation of acetyl coenzyme. So this is the energy you can see. I have already calculated this. So you can remember, you can go through this and you can understand. So this is the shortcut formula you can remember, 7n minus 6. If you calculate from this also, because 7 step is there. So no, n for number of carbon. So if you have to calculate the ATP production for 18 carbon compound, you can calculate from this formula, 7n minus 6. It is very easy formula. This is regulation. You already know a regulation, adipose tissue, and then at the site of beta oxidation, and inside the mitochondria there will be feedback regulations. We will talk about regulation little bit in next class.